Hello, and thanks for joining us on our third session here of How to with Vanco, growing your community with technology. My name is Abby. I'm on our marketing team here at Vanco, and I'm so excited to be hosting us as we're learning more about how we can better use Vanco to engage with our community and our members. Before we get started, again, just a quick reminder on some of our housekeeping items here. All of our attendees are in listen-only mode. With the number of attendees we have joining us, we want to make sure that there is clear audio and eliminate as much background noise as possible. That being said, we do highly encourage your participation throughout our session today, and you can do so in a couple different ways. First off, we're going to be asking you those poll questions as we go through our conversation today. So as those pop up, you'll have an opportunity to talk through those with us. And then additionally, we've got a couple of handouts in our handout section for today. So as you know, we have our special guest here today who's going to be talking about QR codes. As we move through the session today, we're going to be talking about different ways that you can use them. And we've got two great templates in the handout section for you to try out with QR codes from there. Additionally, the other way you can participate in our session today is through the question box. So if you want to have an opportunity to submit a question, it is super simple. You're going to find the question box in the GoToWebinar panel, open that up, submit the question, hit submit, and then that will pop right on over to us. And we'll be monitoring those throughout our presentation today, and you'll have an opportunity. If we have time, we'll answer them. If not, we'll follow up with you afterwards to make sure you get an answer to your question. All right, so without further ado, I am super excited to be introducing my special guest for our How to with Vanco session today. Callie Pierce is joining us to talk all about how to use QR codes to drive traffic. Callie is one of our client adoption specialists here at Vanco and has helped hundreds, if not thousands of churches in her time here successfully onboard and get off to a fast start with giving here at Vanco. But before we turn things over to Callie for her to share some wisdom, some tips, and some easy tricks as it relates to QR codes, we're going to get started with our first poll question for this afternoon. So I'm going to launch this one up, and it's meant to be super easy, yes, no question, so don't think about it too hard. Do you use QR codes in your church today? We've got yes, no, or I'm not sure what a QR code is. And any and all answers are correct from there. So take a minute, drop your answer in, and then we will take an opportunity and share those out. All right, let's close this down, and we're going to share out our responses here. So we've got some really great responses here. Looks like we're split about 60-40. So 60% of you are using QR codes in your church today. 41% of you are not. So I love that you guys picked the yes, no answers from there. Callie, I'm going to turn things over to you, and I'd love to have you kind of start a little bit with talking about why QR codes are important, and maybe even hitting on that little basic of what is a QR code.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hey, everyone. Great to be with you guys today. I love that opening poll question because it just sets us up well. Great responses. So to start us out, QR codes are a barcode that can easily be scanned with a smart code to help access text-based info, like a website URL or something along those lines. So that is the what. And you guys have probably seen QR codes maybe at a restaurant. This kind of started in 2020, the COVID era, where we stopped using menus to stop the spread of germs. Now, what is neat is that they're still with us today. They didn't go away. It was kind of a learning that we took away from COVID. You're probably seeing them at restaurants in a little sticker or a little pop-up on the table. And really, why they stick around is because it helps eliminate obstacles that guests were seeing with traditional menus. So guests aren't having to pull out their phones to in a dim lit room with their flashlights to read the menu, or maybe they're having a hard time seeing smaller fonts. It really helps the restaurant so they don't have to update menus and reprint them week to week or month to month. You can see it's a big win all around. So Just again, eliminating those obstacles for those restaurants. And it's true for churches too when it comes to giving. A QR code is probably most likely, well, I'll say this, definitely the quickest way for someone to get to your giving page. And while there's many avenues that are great as well, such as text to give, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are using that to text to give, the mobile app, or even just the web-based app from someone's phone. QR codes are the most accessible for those sitting in a church service. The bottom line here is that they're just simple to promote and simple for people to use. So there's no typing or having to jot down that URL. It just takes the friction out and meets all of those accessibility needs that we want to eliminate.
That's such a great point, Callie. And somebody said to me once, what they love most about a QR code is it's the easy way to get from the physical world to the digital world without having to type or text or anything really along those lines. I think about, you mentioned earlier accessibility, which I think is such a great point. I chuckle a lot. My father-in-law, bless his heart, he always says, these phones are not made for people that have thumbs my size. And anytime he tries to type in a URL, it takes him a few seconds to do so. And depending on how long something's in front of you, that can be a really frustrating experience and potentially deter you from continuing along on that next step, which may be feeling moved to support a cause from there. So we've covered what a QR code is, and I know that kind of thinking about our world today, there's a lot of options in the world. We talked about options with giving, but that's not the only options that we have. There are a lot of different ways that people can generate QR codes. So it starts to make me wonder, some of you who aren't using them today, if you're being held back with not knowing how to generate that. So we're going to launch our next poll question. And then Callie, I'm going to be really interested to hear your recommendation here. But for our webinar attendees today, how are you generating QR codes in your church? We've got 3 options for you to pick from. I use a website or my browser. I generate them through Vanco. And this could be calling me list. There's a lot of different ways to generate them through Vanco. I won't steal Callie's thunder. Or I have someone else at the church create QR codes for me. So again, we'll give you all just a few more seconds to answer this question, and then we'll share these results out. So again, curious about how you are generating your QR codes today. All right, we're going to close this down and we will share it out. So we've got a great variety here. 48% of you say someone else at the church creates QR codes for me. I love that. Teamwork makes the dream work. 30% of you are generating them through Vanco, and 22% of you say you utilize a website or your browser. So, Callie, I know we have 30% of our audience using QR codes today, but I'd love to get your take on if somebody wanted to generate within Vanco, how could that work?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually have a feature that generates them for you guys. So I know 48% of you guys said that someone else does them, but I'm here to tell you that you can do them with just a few clicks. So what I'm going to do today is I'd actually like to jump into the platform and show you guys how to do that. So if you'll give me 1 second, I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. Let me do this. Here we go. Abby, is that coming through for you guys?
Looks great. Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, what you're looking at right now is Vanco Online, the back-end administrative view. Now, this might look new to some of you guys that are not on Vanco Online just yet. You might be using an older product, maybe WebPay. We can talk to you guys about how to switch over if you'd like to move over to Vanco Online. There's a lot of wins here that might be beneficial for you guys to use. But for those of you guys that are familiar with this product, I'm going to show you how to generate those QR codes where they might be a little bit hidden if you didn't know before. So again, we're logged in here, app.myvanco.com. I always tell everyone, bookmark this in your browser. You're going to go to this weekly. So go ahead and make that part of your regular favorites there. Once you log in with your email, it'll bring you to this page. Now, on the left-hand side, we have the navigation, the tiles on, this is the tiles that where you can edit your tiles if you want to make edits to them. For more information on that, I know Skylar covered that in a previous webinar. You guys can check out those archives and see how to get those tiles nice and tidy, how you want them. But for today, I want to show you how to get those QR codes. So first step is we're going to go over to the Vanco Online tab. It's the second tab that you see on the left-hand side. And then you're going to see a site listed here. Now, if you go over to the far right, where you see these three little dots, you can click into that menu. That menu is going to allow you to do a few different things. You can click and view your site, so it's an easy way to get there. We'll actually pull that up in a second. So you can see our tiles, it looks great. Oh, we can also, this is where we can download that QR code. So just 2 clicks and we're there. You can click download. That brings it into your downloads here. So I'm going to open this up and show you guys where it goes. So again, I'm on a PC and this is going straight to my downloads where I can double click into that. Is that window still showing for you guys? Okay,
Yeah,
great.
we're seeing it great.
Yeah, so this is our designated QR code. This QR code will never change. It'll be your QR code for the duration of your journey here at Vanco. And what you would do is you would drag this into maybe your church bulletin, or maybe you have a slideshow or a PowerPoint that you use on the weekends. You can simply drag and drop there. Again, there's no background on it, which makes it nice and easy to incorporate into an existing document there. So again, this is your main QR code. If you were to pull your phone out right now, this would bring you to our global giving page. And what I mean by that is the page with all the tiles on it. So you can click in and give to any of these here if you wanted to. Again, this is a test site. We're not asking you to give. But we also have another option where maybe you guys are doing a building fundraiser. And you guys are having a specific meeting for raising money for that campaign, and you want it to bring them to that designated tile. What you could do is you can actually generate a QR code for that specific tile. And so I'm going to show you how to do it. We're going to go over to the tiles tab, and let's say let's choose this altar flowers tile, for example. We can click the 3 dots on the right-hand side, and we can view that QR code. So again, this will bring us to this specific tile. So if you want to try that out right now, you can see that it will bring you to that altar flowers tile. So again, this is great in that scenario that you're having a building campaign, a fundraiser, and you don't want them to be distracted by any other tile. You want them to go directly to this one. This will eliminate all of those other distractions and really let your givers focus on where to give for this particular campaign.
That's such a great, thanks for sharing that with us, Callie. And again, like you said, so simple with just a few clicks. One thing you mentioned in there that I want to just go back and highlight, because I think it's really critical. You said in the beginning, this QR code is your QR code for life. So I know when we talked with Skylar a handful of weeks ago now, we talked about how your online giving page should be a living and a breathing document. And that's really one of the benefits of generating your QR code through Vanco is as you make updates to that page, as you are making tweaks to that individual tile, those are going to update in real time. So those materials that you're creating, those materials that you're investing in, all of those are going to be something that you can utilize, and that QR code will just update really just that easily as you're moving through all of those changes and the different seasons that your online giving page takes from there. So I will give a reminder before we're going to jump into our next poll question here in just a minute, but Kelly showed us again, very simple to get your QR code for your online giving page as well as your tile. If you have any questions about that process or anything that Kelly clicked on as she was going through that, our question box is open, so feel free to drop those in, and we could take some time at the end and answer any of those that you have. But let's launch our next poll question here, and this one asks, how are you using QR codes in the church today? And we've got this option of promoting giving, encouraging membership, promoting classes or small groups, facilitating payments, or others. And this is a select all that applies. So don't hesitate if you'd like to choose more than one answer. Let us know, how are you doing those in your church today? So we'll give everyone just a few more seconds here, and then I will share our results out. All right. So we're going to close these down, and I will share. And we've got a great variety here. So 77% of you say you are promoting giving with your QR codes. We've got 3% of you encouraging membership, 23% promoting classes or small groups, another 50% of you are facilitating payments, and then we've got that other. So in just a second here, I'm going to start to check in on what we're seeing with our other options, if we've got any fun ideas from there. But in the meantime, I'm going to toss things over to Callie, and I'd love to hear from you, Callie. What are some of the ways that you recommend promoting and using QR codes in churches today?
Yes, it's a great question. And as it relates to giving, one of the primary places that we see QR codes used is during a church service, specifically during that giving moment that's being facilitated. And I encourage you guys, when you are facilitating this giving moment, I think of a first-time guest. Maybe it's the first time they're in your church building and they're wondering, hey, I want to give to the church, but it may not be clear. They always say clear is kind. And so I'd encourage you guys, establish what that language is and establish the ways that they can give. So that might be verbally communicating online, that they can give online and in person. Or maybe even supporting it digitally on a screen if you guys are using screens during your service. The screen is a great win because you can add that QR code up there and just say, hey, if you want to give online today, you can use your phone and scan that QR code now and kind of give that call to action for them so they know the easiest way. You're pointing them in the direction, they can fully use it. And also another way that churches are using these QR codes is in a pew card. Maybe they have cards in the back of the seats in front of them, and they can pull out that QR code, scan it there, or even the church bulletin. I know a lot of churches are using bulletins or worship guides, and that's another great place to communicate those ways they can give and include that QR code there. So again, all they're having to do with the QR code is pull out their phone and scan it. If the link pops up and they're able to follow the prompts there and give where they want to go. We actually have some resources available for you guys today. One of them are those cue cards. Another one is a digital screen. You can easily download your QR code, like I showed you a few minutes ago, and pop it into that digital screen now. Now, again, this is just a template. If you wanted to switch out the picture in the background or anything like that, you can. This is just a starting point to make this easier for you guys. So that is where to promote the QR codes. I also want to talk about where not to use the QR codes. And that might seem like common sense of like, oh, of course, Callie, but I've seen this and I've been in the church world enough to see this happen time and time again. And I would say when you're places to not use the QR code is if you're already on a web page. The goal here is, again, to make it quick and easy for them to get to your giving page. And if they're already on your giving page, it'd be more trouble for them to pull out their phone and scan again. They're already there. There's no need to. So I'd encourage you guys, keep the QR codes in places like a print piece or a digital screen, something that will eliminate obstacles for them to get to your giving page. So I hope that's helpful.
That's such a great point there, Callie. And I want to just double click on what you said at the end there of, I see QR codes on websites so frequently. And I think maybe the unspoken thing we didn't say in the beginning is the way, as a reminder, that you use your QR code is you pull your phone out and you open your camera app. And we see so often today that people are using an iPad or a smartphone in order to surf the web and look at your website. So that tool that they need in order to open that QR code is already in use. So again, really think about that. I mentioned this earlier, that easy transition from the physical world to the digital world are great times to pull that QR code out. But if they're already in the digital world, that's where, again, we encourage you to think back to some of the tips and tricks that Jamin shared with us last week of, is there a great button? Is there a hyperlink that you can be utilizing in those situations? And using your creativity with the QR codes for things like the PowerPoint slide that Callie shared with us, where again, somebody's not going to be able to click on that PowerPoint slide from their seat within your service. So utilizing their phone to snap a picture of that is such a great option from there. And I did want to follow up because I know we asked the question earlier, what are some other ways that you're using QR codes? And we had some really interesting ones that I want to share out. So some of you are using this for attendance check-in. I loved that we had an idea of prayers, joys, and concerns. So again, the more places that you can incorporate QR codes, you build that familiarity and that ease of use. So then it just makes sense when it shows up in some of these other areas, like your giving moment. People know exactly what they're going to do, and it's an easy way for them to get to what they're hoping for and really act on that intention to get from there. So Callie, I've got one final question for you as we start to transition for today. I say this each and every time we meet together. So much great information was shared today, from what is a QR code to how do we generate it to what are some different ways to use that. We've got a lot of attendees on our call today. What's your advice for what they should do next as they think about, how do I take what I learned in our session today and try to put that into action at our church?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I actually love this. Your giving moment during your service is such a short time. It might be 1 to 3 minutes, which is generous. And it's so quick. And so I would encourage you guys is to get strategic about that moment there. What is the language being used? You know, are we presenting all of the ways they can give? And are we communicating that digitally and maybe even in a print piece? And of course, those QR codes are going to make that moment much easier for you guys to facilitate. And so that's my encouragement for you guys today, is to get strategic with that. Use resources like the QR code to make this moment easy for your church members to give during that time.
That's awesome. Great feedback from there, Callie. And again, one of the other things I'll mention, so we've got some great handouts that are in the handout section, but that's not the only way that Vanco is here to help. So if you have questions at any point in time, feel free to give us a call, 800-675-7430, option 1, or we're also just an email away at cs@vancopayments.com. Also, too, we're here to practice what we preach. So you guys are here and you're having a session. We've got a QR code that is on our screen for today. So if you watched Callie walk through our new MyVanco platform and you said, wow, this doesn't look anything like what I have, but I want that. I want my giving page to have stories and pictures. All you have to do is scan that QR code. It's going to take you to a form where you can request one of our client services reps to reach out to you, and we will handhold you through that process of migrating from your legacy giving page today over to those new Vanco Online platforms. So again, super simple. Grab your phone, get your camera app out, scan that QR code, and again, fill out that form if you'd like to get started with the new Vanco Online. Now, couple last final housekeeping items as we look at closing down for the day. First off, we did record today's session, so we'll be sending out a copy of that recording along with all those great handouts that Kelly mentioned, our PowerPoint templates and our giving card templates. Those are going to be in your inboxes. Look for those over the next handful of days here for you to be able to, again, utilize and incorporate into your giving moment. Additionally, crazy to think, Memorial Day is coming up fast, and with that comes the summer slump. So we're super excited. Our next session is going to be on June 5th at noon, and in it we're going to be talking all about how do I use social media during the summer slump to drive engagement and outreach among my members. So if you're on the call today, that means you are already registered for the next session. But if there's somebody at your church, maybe a volunteer or somebody else in the office that helps with social media, feel free to forward that invite along. We'd love to have them join us. Or again, you always get that recording and you can share it with them after the fact. Now, before we close out for today, Callie, I just want to say a big thank you for taking the time to join us and share all of your expertise on QR codes. Any final closing words or advice for our churches as we close for the day?
Yeah, I'm just so excited to see you guys here today and wanting to grow your giving and really put your best foot forward with tips and tricks. I'd encourage you guys to follow along this series. I think it's just such valuable information, whether you want to catch it on the go, in the archives, or if you want to watch live. I think that the speakers that we have, scheduled out are going to be phenomenal. So again, thank you guys for your time today.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Callie. We appreciate it. And to all of you joining us, we'll see you back here on June 5th as we dig into social media. So on behalf of all of us here at Vanco, have a great day, and we'll see you again next time.